kita buat revision terus untuk tajuk implied terms ni. Most of the question for the implied terms itself selalunya cover adalah starting from condition yang keempat. 4, 5, 6, 7. So yang hari ni saya nak bagi contoh sample of answer scheme and then the technique how to answer the question. To brief ataupun to revise a little bit about implied condition that the goods must correspond with the description. Okay, jadi maknanya apa ni? Kat sini it means whenever you make a contract to buy the goods based on the description sahaja. Either you tengok gambar or you just read the description perihal explanation about the goods itself. Okay, contohnya you buy the goods from the catalogue, right? You look at the pictures and then the explanation, the specification of the goods, ataupun maybe you make a purchase dekat internet, Shopee ke, Lazada ke and so on. So that is a contract whereby you make the purchase of the goods based on description. Jadi by virtue of section 15 dia kata kalau buyer bought the goods based on the description, so the rule is the implied condition. Syarat utamanya secara termaklum is that the goods supplied by the seller must correspond with the description. Macam mana dalam description, macam mana dalam gambar. So whatever being supplied to you, bila you receive the goods mesti exactly the same with that description. So that is the implied condition. So if not, kalau different, not the same with the description, then the buyer has the right, entitled to reject or to resign the contract, terminate the contract, reject the goods, avoid the contract. So that is the effect if the seller supply the goods not the same, not correspond with the description. Okay, so itu law-nya yang you kena faham, yang you kena pegang. Okay, so the clue-nya ialah tadi saya kata when you buy the goods based on the descriptions. Dia explanation. You tak nampak benda tu depan mata. It based on the description. Tengok dekat gambar kat Lazada tu ke kat Shopee ataupun tengok description dia. So that is the clue about this question. Okay, so now saya bagi tengok contoh sample of answer scheme for you to know macam mana bentuk soalan. So this is the sample of answer scheme. Take note, ini cuma skema jawapan, not the full answer. The full answer will be from you. You explain, memang kena refer dekat buku in terms of the law. Right, so the technique how to answer the question, kita ada 4 elements, okay, benda asas yang kena ada in your answer. First, you must have the issue. Issue here, it means you have to find out what is the main relevant law relating to the question. Bukan nak pasal cerita atau fakta, ya. Kita nak tengok apa law yang berkaitan with the facts of the case ataupun cerita soalan tu. And then you have to give the law and authorities. Lepas tu you kena bagi application. Apa maksud application? Means that you apply the law yang you dah bagi dekat sini. You apply the law and you have to solve the problem. Okay, selesaikan problem dalam soalan ni. Right, maknanya dekat law and authorities you only give the law. Bagi law dia saja, tak payah cerita apa-apa. Bagi law je yang related to the issue. So that's why issue ni kena dapat correct issue, correct law. Kalau different law, salah law dia, issue salah je kat sini, kosong lah biasanya. Sebab you dah bagi wrong issue, wrong law, of course kat sini nanti law-nya pun you cerita yang lain. So make sure you get the correct issue and then you have to give the law and authorities relating to the issues, and then this is the time where you have to refer to your book. Okay, now for the application ni, you apply the law yang you bagi, right? You give your decisions, keputusan you macam you jadi hakim based on the questions given in your issues. Right, so maksudnya you kena bagi decision. You decide, okay, macam mana? Seller liable ke tak? Ataupun buyer boleh reject or not the goods, buyer boleh entitled or not to resign the contract ataupun to claim for damages. Itu you buat decision. Decision tu meaning that you give your solutions, penyelesaian to the problems in the question step by step according to each sentence in the question. Tengok daripada ayat pertama tu apa yang you nak kena selesaikan. Nanti katakan step by step tu. Decide and give your reasons based on the law. So why you decided as such? Kenapa you kata macam tu? Kenapa you kata libel? Kenapa you kata tak libel? Okay, so what's your law? Section mana? Case mana? You refer. Tu contohnya. Okay, and then make your decisions by applying the relevant sections and cases. Mention the sections and the name of the cases that relevant. Mention case mana yang relevant. Yang you rasa sesuai lah untuk digunakan as the reference for your decision untuk soalan tu. And then only give the general idea about the sections and the cases. What is the law, the principle of law which have been given in the cases yang you cited tu, yang you sebut. Contoh case, you kata case Bali versus Whip. In this case, it was held that kalau the goods supplied not the same with the description, in that case, buyer entitled to avoid the contract. So that is the principle. Tapi in terms of the facts of the case, cerita case tu, fakta dia, held dia semua, you kena explain detail dekat law and authorities. Dekat application, you cuma bagi nama case tu you sebut and then you bagi principle dia. Principle of law-nya. So no need to give the details of the sections of facts of the cases. Ini application. So maknanya ringkasannya ialah application ni you decide. You give your decision. The technique is that you answer the issue kat sini. Itu application. Lepas tu conclusion. Summary of the law involves. Only the principle of law. Cukup one paragraph. Only 2 to 3 sentences would be sufficient. 2-3 ayat je. Apa dia? Ringkasannya. In conclusion. Cara nak buat conclusion ialah you tak ada lagi dah sebut-sebut nama orang ataupun the parties involved. You cuma kata in conclusion, as a summary ataupun to sum up. Tak kisahlah ayat awak nak mula macam mana. To sum up, if the goods supply is not the same with the description, the seller is liable for breach of the implied condition, the goods not correspond with the description by virtue of section 15. So the buyer has the right to resign, terminate the contract and reject the goods. Dah, 3 ayat cukup. So that is the meaning of conclusion. So saya tekankan kat sini, biasanya ramai yang masih tak faham-faham bagi jawapan. In conclusion, the seller, siapa you sebut, Rambut ke siapa ke nama orang ni tadi. In conclusion, Sampo is not liable. Ataupun Sampo is liable for breach of the implied condition. Tak. Itu saya tak terima. That is not a conclusion. Itu masih lagi application. Sebab itu your decision sebenarnya. You stress, you emphasize on your decisions. So this is the technique how to answer a case study. So kena ada issue, law and authorities, application, conclusion. Jadi contohlah, tadi katakan you dapat soalan. Ini soalan ni pendek je lah. Either it's a short question or long question, it doesn't matter. Baca soalan tu ayat demi ayat, find the clue in the question to see which law relevant to solve the problem. And then take note, dia takkan campur-campur topik. Kalau soalan tu relating to the implied terms, memang implied terms sajalah. Dia takkan campur pula dengan tajuk apa? Tajuk transfer of property or transfer of title or remedies, tak ada. Boleh faham tu? Boleh ingat tu? Tak apa, kita tengok soalan dulu. Baca soalan. Right, Sampo ordered 100 sacks of beras wangi. So dia macam ada clue kat sini. Kenapa dia mention beras wangi tu dalam quotation, quote and unquote kat sini. From Rambut. However, Rambut sent beras panjang. Nampak tak? Dah ada masalah kat sini. Dia order apa? Beras wangi. So the description is that, ini describe lah kan? 100 sacks of beras wangi. Ini descriptionnya beras wangi. Dia dalam quote and unquote tu. Itu clue lah tu. Yang mana dia ada explanation about the goods. Okay? Ada ke depan mata dia 100 sacks of beras wangi? Tak ada. Dia order 100 sacks of beras wangi. So meaning that the buyer here make the purchase based on description. Dia describe, saya nak beras wangi. So maknanya law ni, bila you dapat soalan tu, you kena macam, you know the problem tu, nak solve the problem tu, you kena having a critical mind sikit lah. Critical and reasonable mind. Ni pasal apa ni? Dia nak beli apa ni? 100 sacks of beras wangi. Okay, so maknanya dia beras wangi. Fakta dia. Tapi Rambut send beras panjang. So meaning that this is not the same with the description. Buyer minta beras wangi, tiba dia hantar beras panjang from Thailand with the same quality. Walaupun same quality kan. Tapi different description. So Sampo refuse to accept the rice. Dia tak nak. Dia reject. Is Sampo entitled to do so? Give your reasons. So maknanya cluenya dalam soalan ni, breach of implied condition that the goods supplied not correspond with the description. Tak sama dengan description. Minta ini dapat ini. Right, so the answer scheme, okay, how to write the issue, macam ni pun cukup. Tapi start your sentence with whether. Whether rambut seller kan? Whether rambut has breached. Sebab dalam implied terms, yang you kena tahu ialah you kena cari seller tu breach ke tidak. Kalau you tengok dekat nota, you look back at the objective outcomes dia. At the end of the topic, students shall be able to know the effects of breaching those implied terms by the seller. Maknanya implied terms ni kita nak tengok seller salah ke tidak. Breach ke tidak. Itu je. So kalau dia breach, whether buyer entitled to avoid the contract, to reject the goods, to claim damages due to the breach by the seller. Okay, so itu the outcomes. Jadi maknanya kat sini, dia related lah dengan your issue. Whether rambut has breached the implied condition that the goods was not correspond with the description. So this is how for you to write your issue. And then for implied terms, saya ada bantu juga. Saya bagi juga standard issues dekat dashboard ni. You boleh buka Instagram, CG Business Law, implied terms. Buka sini. Terus saya memang dah ada dah. Standard issues for breach of implied terms under the SoG. So untuk setiap tajuk tu saya dah bagi dah standard issues. Apa, macam mana nak tulis. Kadang terfikir, terkial-kial nak fikir weather, apa weather, nak tulis ayat tu susah sangat. So tapi you tahu, kalau outcome-nya kita nak tengok whether seller liable. And then yang kedua, whether buyer entitled to sue, to claim, to reject, to avoid. Tu dia. Jadi you buatlah dua ayat ni. Satu, whether Ellie, you nak pegang buyer dulu, tak kisah. Atau nak seller dulu ke, tak kisah. Whether Ellie the buyer, saya namakan je lah kan. The buyer entitled to sue the seller and avoid the contract. Because the goods supplied were not correspond with the description. Zarul, whether Zarul the seller has breached. Kalau Ellie boleh sue. Tapi kalau seller has breached the implied condition that the goods supplied were not correspond with the description. Sama jugalah untuk section 16 clause 1A. Saya dah bagi juga. You cuma tukar apa? Tukar nama dengan relevant point je. Saya dah kata dah kat situ. Once you found the correct, accurate, relevant law, gunakan law tu, masukkan dalam ayat cerita tu, jadikan isu. Macam ni. Yang ini unmerchantable quality. Yang ini pula sebat sampel. Itu je lah. So you boleh refer. Alright? So now kita dah tahu dah. So the law is only about section 15. The goods supplied must correspond with the description. So nak tengok whether rambut tu breach ke tidak. And then tambah whether seller entitled or not to avoid. Kat sini sebab apa? Sampo refuse to accept kan. So tambah. You boleh tambah. Whether Sampo has the right ataupun entitled to refuse to accept the rice, to reject the goods, to avoid the contract. Tambahlah. Ikut je lah standard issue yang saya bagi. Okay. Macam tu je tulis ayat dia. Now, law and authorities. Cuba tengok muka surat berapa, implied terms. Apa dalam buku tu, keluar balik. Tapi start kenalah ada introduction kan. So introductionnya apa? You kena bagi tahu there are 7 implied terms under the SoG. So you bagi list of the implied terms. List sahaja ya, no need to explain. All the 7 implied terms under the SoG. Lepas tu barulah explain in detail everything relating to the implied condition that the goods must correspond with the description. So dalam tu ada apa? You kena terangkanlah apa maksud implied condition that the goods correspond with the description. Terangkan. Macam saya explain dalam slide, macam saya explain dalam buku. Lepas tu section 15 of the SoG. Explain section tu. Bagi content of the section and then explain apa maksud dia. Lepas tu ada 3 cases. Bagi all the 3 cases. With all the facts of the case, with all the health, semua bagi semua. Jangan bagi nama je ya. Ini skema je. Dalam buku ada facts and ada help kan. So bagi semua detail. Belum lagi, no need to relate dengan soalan. Cuma bagi law saja. Jadi from what page to what page you dah tahu dah. You should know. Sampai habis case, the last case Nagurdas Purshotumdas tu kan. Itulah case tu. Lepas tu baru application. Selesaikanlah. Selesaikan tu maknanya jawab balik isu ni. Rambut has breached the implied condition that the goods was not correspond with the description. Why? Relatekan dengan soalan. Because Sampu ordered for beras wangi, 100 sets of beras wangi. The description is about beras wangi. However, the seller rambut dia hantar supply beras panjang. So this is not correspond with the description as described ataupun as required ataupun as ordered by the buyer, Sampu. Itu maksudnya sebab tu you bagi alasan you. Kenapa? Kenapa you kata breach? Sebab tak sama. Apa yang tak sama? Ni tak sama. So kalau tak sama apa jadi? By virtue of section 15, sebut, mention section 15 of the Sale of Goods Act. If the goods supplied not correspond with the description, apa jadi? The buyer entitled to reject the goods. Avoid the contract sebab dia adalah breach of implied condition. Syarat utama. Itu semalam kita bezakan apa beza warranty dengan condition, right? So kalau breach of condition, implied condition, so meaning the contract is voidable. Boleh dibatalkan, avoided by the buyer. Reject the goods. So in this situation, Sampu has the right to reject, refuse to accept the rice. By virtue of the case of Wali versus Whip, atau Bill versus Taylor, atau Nagurda, sebutlah tiga-tiga nama kes pun tak apa. Itulah cara how to do the application. You selesaikan, tengok isu dan tengok setiap ayat ni. Bila you buat decision, bayangkan hakim kan, hakim bila buat decision, saya putuskan awak bersalah. Kenapa bersalah? Sebab ni. Kenapa? Berdasarkan akta ini, section ini, case ini, case refer kita kan. Macam itulah. So that is how you do the application. Kat sini you macam jadi lawyer, you keluarkan main law dia and then you bagi law yang relevan, you yang present pada mahkamah, you bagi tahu okay berdasarkan section ni, berdasarkan macam itulah. Jadi lawyer lah kat sini. Yang kat sini you jadi judge. You buat decision tapi you kena bagi base apa law awak, kenapa you decided semacam tu. Okay, lepas tu conclusion. Ni tadi conclusion saya dah bagi dah. Cara nak buat conclusion. Alright, itulah cara nak jawab case study for sale of goods. Macam tu jugalah caranya untuk topik-topik yang lain, transfer of title and remedies. Ni contoh lain pula. Lily bought an electric oven from a shop owned by Syamil. 1 week later, while using the oven, she suffered a relatively severe electric shock and the oven ceased to function. Siapa masalah ni? Buyer masalah ke barang tu yang masalah? Barang tu kan? Oven tu lah yang rosak, electric shock and ceased to function. So Lily brought the oven back to Syamil and complained that the oven was not suitable for usage. Maknanya apa tu? Barang tu yang rosak, defektif. So bila kata defektif, maknanya apa tu? Unmerchantable quality. Bukan masalah fitness for particular purpose. Bukan masalah Lily. Masalahnya barang tu defektif. Right? And then not because of correspond with description, tak ada cerita pun pasal description ke apa kat sini. Okay, Lily demanded a refund. So maknanya isu dia whether Syamil has breached the implied condition that the oven was unmerchantable quality. Tambah lagi, whether siapa? Lily entitled to avoid and claim for the refund, claim for damages. Sebenarnya boleh tambah lagi damages sebab dia dah suffered a relatively severe electric shock. Patutnya dapat damages ni, pampasan. Lepas tu law and authorities. Kat sini merchantable quality kan dia exception. Exception pada KVM TOR. Jadi kena ceritalah general rule pasal KVM TOR. Dia apa-apa hal mesti masuk general rule dulu. Ataupun definition dulu. Lepas tu barulah explain pula the exceptions. Sebutkan. Nampaknya kat sini kalau section 61A explain briefly sahaja. Tapi yang B ni, merchantable quality, barulah you have to explain in detail. Bagi detail, everything. Semua yang ada pasal merchantable quality bagi. Lepas tu yang pasal merchantable quality, depends on the description tu. Maksudnya kadang-kadang ada barang tu ditulis hot water bottle. So, hot water bottle, that is a description. And then, bila pakai meletup, maknanya tak tahan panas. Maknanya dia unmerchantable. Dah tambah tu. Okay, so if goods are unmerchantable, ni kesannya, case-nya. Lepas tu ada pula exception. Yang mana kalau you boleh check, tapi you tak kisah, you terus beli juga. Macam contoh pen. You tahu pen tu tak ada dakwat, tapi you beli juga. So, this section is inapplicable. Tak terpakai lah. So, maknanya, you cannot avoid the contract. Sebab, under reasonable examination, you boleh check. Tapi kalau there is a latent defect, apa jadi? The goods are considered as unmerchantable. Latent defect. Contohnya, mi goreng. You beli mi goreng kena food poisoning. Kecacatan tersembunyi. Of course, the food, mi goreng tu is not fit for its purpose. Maknanya dia jadi unmerchantable lah. Lepas tu application, selesaikan. Bagi alasan, kenapa you kata breach? Kenapa you kata dia boleh claim damages apa semua? Mana section yang relevan? Mana case yang relevan? Bagi. Sebutkan. And then, conclusion. Summary of the law. Alright, ada soalan?
Madam nak tanya.
Ya?
Kalau dekat isu tu, saya tulis whether Lily can claim refund from Syamil je boleh ke?
Boleh. You kata nak claim refund from Syamil je sebab soalan terang-terang cuma kata nak refund je. Demanded refund. Betul tak?
Betul.
Boleh. Tetapi kalaulah awak nak perfect, awak dah tahu dah the right of Lily apa. This is in breach of implied condition kan? Maknanya Lily boleh avoid the contract, boleh reject the goods, boleh claim for damages. Sebab ni takkan awak cedera, awak tak nak minta apa-apa. Betul tak?
Okay, madam.
So dia macam, kalau nak kata demand for a refund je pun tak apa. Sebab memang soalan macam ditunjuk ni je, dia demanded for a refund sahaja. Tak apa, boleh. But still the same thing you have to give kan. Semua benda ni sama juga kan. You kena bagi semua ni. Cumanya application tu pun you bagi jawab je lah yang ni tak kisah, tak apa, boleh. Right, cumanya it's a bonus mark for you kalau you sendiri critically you boleh examine lagi soalan tu, you tahu apa lagi you boleh bagi dekat Lily ni. Damages, faham?
Faham, madam.
So buyer entitled for resign the contract, reject the goods, claim for the refund and demand for damages due to the unmerchantable quality of the oven. Kan lengkap tu. Kalau you cakap macam tu. Kalau you jadi Lily, puas hati tak kalau you explain semua tu? Oh, boleh claim damages sebab you dah injury. Oh, boleh reject the goods. You boleh minta refund sebab benda ni breach of implied condition. Puas hatilah patutnya. Macam tu lah. Macam ni jugalah teknik yang sama untuk law of agency. Dan dia punya tips ke apa semua tu, semua ada saya letak kat dashboard atau dekat IG. So refer dua-dua tu. Ada standard issue semua ada.